Today on Talk About That, John thinks he's a ninja and fights accusations of being a boomer. Meanwhile, I share a theory about Prince and ruin someone's dessert with sarcasm. Also, a conversation about disappointment, contentment, and God's perfect will. Today's episode is not sponsored by Benadryl. You can't sneeze if you're asleep. Let's go.
Get your tickets punched. All aboard the train to Bantertown. Let's talk about that. I'm John here with Jonnie.
We're out here. We've got, if you're watching this on video, we've got a little work. We're adding some elements.
Guys, let me tell you something. The show's going places. Like the train metaphor suggested.
What we're doing is we're throwing money at it.
Oh, my gosh.
That's our solution for everything.
I told you earlier, that is kind of your solution. You're like, you know what we need? 3 more of these. You know what, Johnny? And I'm sick of it. And that's
never
why
enough.
Episode 230 is my last one.
Oh.
So I thought I'd go ahead and...
You know, that's when you go to the dentist. That's what time you go to the dentist?
Yeah.
2:30.
2:30.
I'm sorry, guys.
That's great.
That's all we have for you
That's a
today.
popsicle wrapper joke.
Is it really? Oh,
Yeah.
it's like a Laffy Taffy?
Yeah. I do have a pink background, but I like it. I'm okay with it.
It feels a little purpley. It's
It
got
is
like
purpley.
I thought it was like a Prince video when I walked in. I saw the keyboard and the...
Prince and I have a lot in common.
Yep.
People have made the comparison for years. I'm like Prince minus the talent. Mm-hmm. But I have to say
he was a
backgrounds.
tiny guy.
Yeah. Well, I'm not so tiny. I'm working on it, but...
Did I ever tell you about my theory about Prince?
You have a Prince theory.
Yeah. So Prince dressed androgynously, shall we say?
Right.
Which is his right. That's
Sure,
fine.
sure.
He had some pizzazz to his outfit. He would wear these heels, though, on stage, like these boots that had heels. Because
Okay.
he was like 5 foot whatever. But he would wear these high heels, boots. And, you know, he had double hip replacement later in life.
I did not know that.
And they think that could have had to do with like his choice in footwear and just in general. And so he ended up dying later from an overdose. He had chronic pain in his joints.
Yeah.
So he ended up dying from an overdose of, fentanyl.
Yeah.
And so my theory is that if he dressed with a little bit less pizzazz, he might still be here.
Wow.
What I'm saying is, if he was just a t-shirt jeans guy like me, would he have sold as many records?
Mm-mm.
He would not.
Probably not.
I've sold almost no records.
I was in the band with you. I can concur.
Maybe he had something. Maybe there's something to, you know.
Maybe that's all we were missing.
You put me in some platforms though, I'll be 7 foot tall. I'm 6'4" without.
Yeah.
Although I can slouch. I think it surprises people that I'm 6'4".
Oh, I
because
agree.
I can hunch down.
You have a diminutive posture.
Is it diminutive?
Yeah.
Diminutive? I don't know. It's a lot. Anyway, love Prince. Huge fan. And rest in peace. But I just do think that there might be a link there. I've never heard anybody say that before, but I think it's interesting. Like someone's clothing choice could have indirectly led to their demise.
Did you hear when Prince, I don't know if you knew this, but Prince later in life came to faith.
Yeah.
And he wrote this poem. It was really, really famous. It's like on people's wall.
Okay.
It's called Footprints in the Sand. I couldn't believe it because I thought that had already been written.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same as the other one in the end.
When you only see one set of footprints, it was because
God was wearing platform heels.
Yeah. And Prince was like, man, my dogs are barking. And God's like, I got you.
I don't know. That may be inappropriate. I don't think it is.
I don't know. Who knows?
Sorry, guys.
We'll have angry Prince fans.
It was just the play on the words. There, so.
We mean no offense. Sometimes it's hard to know, like, if you're being offensive in the moment. And I used to have that problem a lot when I was a kid because I was a teenager in early 20s. Like, I would be sarcastic, but then when I wasn't being sarcastic, I would still come off as sarcastic.
Right, sure you would.
Have I ever told you the story of... You don't know a lot about my movie theater days, right? Because I met you after those times.
You know, I feel like I've heard a lot about it.
Yeah.
Like I know about the water fountain story. I know about the projector.
Like fill up the drinking fountain was the
Right.
prank. Yeah.
I know stories. You've told me stories that I can't tell.
So we used to go to Sonic, and one of the reasons we go to Sonic is we had a manager there who would trade us, like, we could order like 5 or 6 orders worth of food, and we would just give him a couple of free movie passes. And so we would just go, be like, hey, we're going to throw, and we'd print them off on the copier. They'd just be these yellow pieces of paper. And we'd just be like, movie passes. One of the managers was in on it. And of course, he was like an assistant manager, but not a real manager.
Did y'all let him in?
Yeah, he would come use the
okay.
passes. But neither one of us was supposed to be doing that probably.
Yeah.
And then I think he got fired later. But that's not what this story is
we
about.
call that movie theater fraud. And
It's not what this story is about. The Great Sonic Bandit of 1990, whatever that was. So we're there one day, and we're hanging out. I'm with my friend Brent and my brother, and then our friend Mary. And so we're eating, and I notice I don't have any ketchup. And I'm like, there's no ketchup? I'm like, come on. So I hit the button. We're eating outside at Sonic, you hit the button, they bring it out. You're sitting at the little tables.
yeah.
And because we weren't eating in our car, we're classy. So they bring ketchup, and it was really quick. Like I hit the thing, and all of a sudden this guy runs out on skates and brings me, I guess he wasn't running.
He was skating out.
He brings the ketchup, and I go, man, the service here. Right? Thinking whatever. Then I walk away, or that guy rolls away. And then Brent looks at me and goes, dude, what are you doing? I go, what? I thought it was really cool. He was so quick. He goes, come on, man. Like he was acting like I was being sarcastic. I go, there's no way that guy thought that was sarcastic. And so then Mary, she hits the button again because she's done with her food. She wants to order a sundae. She goes, I'm sitting close to the speaker. So the guy goes, she goes, order me a sundae. I go, yeah, can I get a hot fudge sundae, blah, 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 add nuts or whatever. Okay. And then he comes out with it and he brings it to me. And I go, it's for her. And he goes, oh. And then he hands it to her, and we didn't think anything of it. She dives into this sundae. She gets to the bottom, jalapenos.
No way.
There's jalapenos in the bottom of her sundae. And she goes, and I cannot remember what happened next, if she complained or if she was just like, well, you screwed me, Jonnie. Like if she just blamed me outright. So for years, whenever we were at a restaurant, somebody in our group would go, man, the service here. They would always like razz me. Don't let Jonnie order your dessert or whatever. And I don't remember, like, I do not think that I was that sarcastic, but I caused another person's dessert to be kiboshed.
I don't understand.
Bamboozled.
I hear those sort of stories, and I don't understand how someone thinks they can get away with
what's
that.
the end game?
Right, because all
It's
you got to
like
do
the
is come back and go, guys, I know you did this.
Right.
At least if they would have spit at it or something, you couldn't have proven it, probably.
Yeah, it's not like the gummy bears are close to the jalapenos.
Right.
Like, that's not an accidental, oh, no, I thought...
Oh, man.
I thought that was marshmallows. Like that was it. But it's like some pranks like that, they make no sense. Like when we were kids, it was order 20 pizzas and send it to a dude's house.
Yeah.
But the dude is not going to pay for the pizzas.
Right.
He's just going to go, I didn't order these. And then the pizza guy goes, crap.
Right, when there's no way to trace it back.
And he gets in the car and drives off and he's furious. You really are pranking the pizza guy.
Yeah.
You're not pranking the person.
Which, I mean, if I'm going to prank a pizza guy, I have a totally different prank for that.
That's a totally different prank.
Right. I don't, yeah. I mean, there's a book for it. Yeah. I keep it close. But,
Your prank book?
Yeah. I don't do a lot of pranks. Again, I'm like you. I fear the retribution more than I enjoy the prank.
You got to know how far you want to take it. Because people's dark sides come out in a prank war.
Yeah.
It can ramp up on you.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm mischievous. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I just don't. Yeah.
You've got an impish hue, an impish grin.
One thing is I don't want bad things to happen to the people around me.
Do you like prank shows? Do you watch like the prank shows? I feel bad for the people.
Yeah.
Like even man on the street interviews where they're like, hold a mic up to people and then try to get them to say something stupid.
Right.
I go, just leave these people alone. They're just trying to go to work.
Yeah. Or I always think I could look that stupid if someone came up, and then.
Oh no, you have.
Yeah, I do. Daily. And then, I don't know, I feel bad when other people feel bad. Like, that's the thing. It's so funny.
You're saying you're too empathetic.
No, I don't know what it is.
That's my favorite thing. It's like when somebody's like at a job interview and they go, what are your weaknesses?
I care too much.
Yeah. I work too hard.
I need better balance in life because I take my job too seriously.
I work too hard. I care too much. I beat my kids. Is that three? That's three, right?
I don't think that last one was about work.
This interview's over.
Yeah. You, sir. Call the police.
I stay too late. I come in too early. I'm addicted to heroin. I can't. When do I start? Monday?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, maybe it's the youth pastor in me.
Mm-hmm.
But like Dane's the quintessential example for me of a lot of things in my life. Dane will be just brutal. He'll just be brutal towards me in a joking way.
Yeah.
He'll just say something like Dane calls me a boomer all the time.
And you're not a boomer.
No. But it's Jonnie.
What are you, Gen X?
I'm actually an exennial, which I thought was called zennial because it starts with an X, but there's actually I learned
a
this
zennial
from
with
staff.
a Z now.
There's a zennial and an exennial. So
Okay.
they're the two generations that span the short period between the major generations. So I'm
already bored with this.
Yeah. So, but I like.
But you're not a boomer.
No, but boomer is
Boomer would be like your mom.
a derogatory term.
Oh, right. It just means you're old and out of touch.
Pejorative.
Right.
Right.
You're old and out of touch.
Yeah. And so he'll be like, "You're a boomer," and he acts like that I have major tech issues. Mm-hmm. And so, with the hilarious part of that is he's the technical director
Right.
of the church, and we have tech issues every Sunday that we have to meet on. But he'll make sure.
This feels like you're taking this to editorialize about Dane.
Guys, I think he has to be stopped. But the funny thing is if I have any sort of computer glitch or anything, it's like, "Hey, boomer," and it's always like, "John can't work," and he tells the whole staff, "John can't work tech and everything."
Oh boy.
And so, I will come back and do what I just did and make something like, "Well, dang, what about now? Whenever something fails on Sunday," and it's never his fault. Usually, just the computer crashes or something, And then I feel bad,
Right.
but he doesn't feel bad
No.
when he does it to me, and I want that.
Do you think he feels bad when you do it to him?
I don't know.
If he takes it all in good
I just
fun?
immediately go, probably.
Sometimes people dish it out and they can take it.
I don't. No, I think he can take it. I just feel bad that I did it. Although I worry, I wonder if Dane really. I wonder if he worries that I really meant that.
I always am kidding if I'm being rude to somebody. It's always fake, usually. I'm hardly ever rude on purpose. I think fake rudeness is very funny.
Agreed.
It's very funny. But real rudeness is really irritating to me. If I see somebody really being rude, I'm like, ooh, gross.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, people who are okay being rude in public, I'm embarrassed for them.
Yeah.
And then I'm also disturbed that they're not embarrassed for themselves.
I have a lot of secondhand embarrassment in my life.
Yes.
There's a lot of cringy.
Yeah.
I just, oh no. I think it's why I don't watch a lot of talent shows. You watch those, you like America's Got Talent, but even America's Got Talent, they don't put a lot of, the first couple of episodes of American Idol used to be just the bad.
Right.
Like a laughably bad person that's clueless and thinks they're going to be famous, but they're not going anywhere. I feel bad for those people.
I really do. I feel, and again, maybe this is the community mindset of me. I'm like, that's someone else's fault that they're up there as much as it's theirs.
Yeah.
If let's just say, I don't know, if I decided, Jonnie, I'm going to go enter just the straight up male vocalist category.
And I think you should.
And I'm going to go try to sing, a Bruno Mars song on America's Got Talent.
Uptown Funk.
You would be like, no, John, that's a bad decision. You would finally, before you let me go embarrass myself. Now look, if I was going to go back you up and play acoustic guitar and throw some harmonies you can't hear, sure.
Yeah, we'll blend those right
All
out.
for that. We could just blend them right out. No one has to know. I'm not saying there's nothing I could do there as a backup something, but if I'm just no, just me and a microphone. I'm not even a track. I'm just gonna let my vocals shine. You'd be like, John. So somewhere along the way, people get on there and no one.
There's nobody in their corner.
Right. I told someone this morning.
But some people wouldn't listen. Even if you had somebody in your corner.
And if that's the case, and maybe that's something the judges should ask. Has anyone? What if the people you trust the most in life?
Yeah.
What have they told you about your singing? Mm-hmm. Have they told you anything? Have you ever asked?
Would you like us to tell you something?
I would do my Simon Cowell accent here, but we all know how last episode that went.
Don't do it.
I was telling Chris, our community director, this morning, I was like, my dad raised me telling me I could do anything.
Yeah.
And it's a great thing to tell a kid until you're like 35. And then you start realizing, oh, wow. Because you've already failed at a bunch of things. You're kind of like, I just haven't found my shot yet, though, Yeah. And then you get to a place where you go, oh, wow, I really can't do everything. It's actually, I think I'd rather have that illusion.
Yeah, it's okay.
Maybe heading in to some extent.
Find out. That whole thing of like, I got to let my kids know how hard the world is right away.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I love that either.
No, I've seen kids, though, that it hits them a lot earlier than 35, and it really is, like, at least at 35.
If you had everything handed to you, that is a little bit.
Yeah, it's jarring. Like, so we try to, like, hey, like with Sadie, it's a very, like, hey, listen, you can work hard, and it's really, really important, and there are certain things you're going to be more talented than others to do. And who knows what God's plans are for you, and we don't know. It's all exciting and wide open. There will be downfalls, limitations, and things that you won't be able to accomplish. Life is not all accomplishment. Like, and if you believe life is all accomplishment, then there is a reckoning, a comeuppance that is coming for you.
Yeah.
So I don't think I use the word comeuppance with it when I talk to her. But
man, you got some spooky stories you tell your kid. Anyway, good night, sweetie.
Sleep well. But I mean, just think like, it's okay.
You're probably going to fail a whole lot. There'll be some victories, but let's be honest.
For the most part, life is...
Just set some expectations and...
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Life is a swirling cesspool of disappointment. Sleep good, sweet dreams. No, I mean, but life is full of a lot of disappointments, a lot of limitations. And I just think having... Dude, I read a book, I may have said this, called Disappointment with God by Philip Yancey on vacation. Old book.
Disappointment with God on vacation?
It was very specific.
That is, man, it's a travel book.
On vacation, I read a book called Disappointment with God.
Okay.
Or Disappointed with God. I can't remember. Obviously, it impacted me deeply. I don't have it in front of me. But
yeah.
Anyway, it really did impact me deeply. But he talks about, it's like the whole thing starts with he's got this young guy contacts him who's like, coming out of college, has written a dissertation on the book of Job at a Bible college. And he's like taking a chance to get this big time author to maybe sit down with him and look over and give him advice on this thing or whatever. And he's like, I kind of, I always try to be kind and stuff, So he agrees to look at the manuscript and he sends it to him. He's like, it's really good. Like it's surprisingly good, And so he meets with the guy and he ends up getting a publishing deal on this book on Job. And then like 2 months before the book's supposed to come out, it's been all the way through the editorial process, the whole deal. He meets with the guy again. The guy asked to meet with him. And the guy is like, squirrely. He is obviously upset. He no longer believes the stuff he's written in the book. He's had a complete falling away in crisis of faith. And like just life. And he has all these things that have happened to him. And he's like, yeah, that was all crap. Now I don't know what to do though. I'm under contract, and like, I think that the book came out.
Oh, no.
I mean, there's nothing they could do. It was going to come out. And so the book, Yancey's book is like following, it starts with that. And so Yancey's like starting the story of, because in the end, the guy's very disappointed with God over different things in his life. If God really cared, he'd show up and do this. And, what can we imply or infer about the character of a father is the term we use, who allows this level of whatever to happen to children he supposedly loves unconditionally, right? So it's asking those hard questions. And so Yancey is kind of like, the first half of the book's like, okay, these are decent thoughts. He's kind of coming at it from a little bit of a intellectual place, and and it gets about halfway through, and I've never read anything like this, and he says, this was the moment this was the place in the book I was going to end it, the book. I was going to be done with the book. And I guess he allowed himself to deal with his own disappointment with God. It's like the second half of the book just takes off into all these crazy places.
Yeah.
And really being honest about all the questions and really dealing with it and from a different perspective. And he talks about how the story of Job, when you really get into it, that God does allow limitations and different things in life, and we have to deal with our definitions of what he says is like, look, above all, Jesus said once, when the Son of Man returns, will he find faith on the earth? And he makes this statement. He goes, whatever faith means to us, we're not we know how we kind of all process it. Some of us have this faith for miracles. Other of us have sort of general faith, like you say, I came to the faith or I left the faith. He goes, he uses a term called fidelity for him. He's like, for me, there's those two kinds of faith are in the Bible as well. But the second one for me, I call fidelity. And that is when the first kind doesn't work out, when God doesn't meet my expectations, or when God goes dark and even says like, this, you know, he talks about bumper sticker Christianity, and you've seen these, Jonnie, like or we would call it church marquee Christianity. Like, if you feel distant from God,
Right.
guess who moved? You know, and then it's like the big
Right.
wink and aha, and I got you. He's like, hey guys, if you read the book of Job, guess who moved? God. Job had done nothing,
Right.
nothing different. God actually was distant and silent.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. That actually happens in the Bible. There's a moment, and he goes through like in almost every, and C.S. Lewis writes about it too, almost every person of faith experiences this dark night of the soul, this moment where God no longer is responding in the way that he once did. And that then is when fidelity, that kind of faith, comes to play.
Uh-huh.
And so he and it's more important, and generally it happens to Christians further along in their journey. He finds that the other kinds generally happen more to Christians to bring them to faith or early in their walk with God in order to sort of sustain them. Later on, you see this over and over again. It's sort of it is the path. And there's a lot of comfort, and then that's sort of the point of the book. Like, hey, what's happening to your dark night of the soul, your disappointment with God, actually happened to David and happened to Job and happened to a lot of people. And it's a part of developing something different than the faith you knew, or that as we define it. But in the end, I just think it's okay to know, the whole point of that, it's okay to know that you can't accomplish or do everything. It doesn't all work out. I think that's a part of it. But I'm with you in agreeing that it's better when you're younger, and maybe even by design, even by faith journeys. Often that lesson can't be learned at a young age the way that it will be learned, whether you want to or not, in later in life.
I mean, you want to teach your kids to. I mean, I can only tell you how I've taught my kids. But it seems to me like my mom was that for me. She was like, I just want you to do whatever you're gifted to do. And I want you to be happy. And you can do anything. And like, that's naive in a way, but it's also like, I remember that fondly now. I don't think, she set me up to just be disappointed with the world.
Yeah, no, I do too.
When I hit the wall,
Yeah.
I can blame mom. It's like, no, like, that's kind of beautiful.
Yeah.
You don't want your teacher kids like to constantly be afraid of the world or their limitations, because how will they ever know if they don't try?
I will say this about your mom and my dad, I would say, who taught us, and my mom taught me that too.
Yeah.
The thing about your mom and my dad is when they told us that, they believed it.
Right. No, yeah, there was,
Yeah.
yeah, especially now, you know, my mom never got to see me do stand-up and really step into what I feel like is a calling for me. And that was a very melancholy moment for me when I did like my first full show and my mom wasn't there. She had died a couple of years before. And I remember thinking like, yeah, it's such a strange thing that she wasn't here, but there's no doubt in my mind, like what her reaction would have been to it. You know, she would have been on board with all of it. So.
Absolutely. She would have been so proud. The only thing she would have been mad about is you called yourself Jonnie.
Oh yeah, that would have been, she'd have been furious about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are Jonathan W., not Johnny W.
Jonathan W. I don't know. That sounds like a men's clothing store.
I think by the way you just gave me, I'm writing it down. I think you just gave me a new book title. It's a little wordplay.
What is it?
Melon-Calling.
Oh,
you know what I'm
that
saying?
feels like a guy who opens a produce stand. Gives money to charity or
Jesus
whatever.
Calling is Melon-Calling.
It's a Melon-Calling.
Never mind. I wrote it down. It's one of those passing ideas that no longer, when I said it out loud.
Yeah. I give it
I
to
was
you.
thinking
And
of
then
people in ministry who are melancholy about their calling, but
Yeah.
it doesn't work when I said it out loud because it kind of.
Melon-Calling. Just feel like a cantaloupe going, hello! Oh, my God.
Guys,
3 for $10! Whatever.
this is those moments.
Yeah.
This is those moments. I'm like, Dad, you were wrong.
Yeah.
I'm really bad at a lot of things.
Melon-Calling.
But no, I agree. I think that the belief. Here's the thing, and I think we get this scripture all out of whack. You know, we just like take Philippians 4:13 that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and it's literally a sports scripture in American culture,
Oh, yeah.
or it's a word of faith scripture.
Yeah.
Meaning like, you can do anything. And what it follows actually Paul's statements about he's learned how to be content in all circumstances. And one of those circumstances was poverty, imprisonment. There's all these things he names. And he's saying, look, it really doesn't matter because in the end, I can do whatever God wants me to do because Jesus is always strengthening me even in weakness.
Yeah.
So I do believe that part of it. There's a truth to it. I don't want to take the joy out of that scripture.
But it's less about like doing these extraordinary things because of your belief in Christ, and more like Christ is within me as I do all these things that I'm doing.
Right.
It's like the scripture that says, whether you walk to the left or the right, there will be a voice behind you saying, this is the way. Like, that's one of those things that kind of flies in the face of that perfect will of God thing that we were raised with. It's like, you're terrified. Should I eat this cheese sandwich? Is this God's will?
Yeah.
You're terrified of any move. You read a scripture like that, you're like, whether you go to the left or right, you'll hear a voice saying, this is the way. Like,
yeah. Because I don't think it's about just the direction. I think it's not there's two ways to interpret the way. This is the way. One is what we want in American culture is this is the path towards a certain destination.
Yeah.
But also I read that more now as this is the way to walk. This is the gate to use.
Oh, right.
This is like it'll be the way you walk, not the direction you walk. But hey, if you walk that direction, make sure your pace and your gait and all those things match this way. So walk in the ways of God regardless of which way you go.
Yeah, and I believe there are definitely like paths that we can take that lead us the wrong way. But I just think that whole idea of like, I hate my job, but maybe God's trying to teach me something with this horrible job that's tearing my family apart and making me miserable, so I'll stay. And you're like, I mean, I never really met any Christians, and I moved here in 2006, and I remember I had lunch with a guy who's a music producer, and he said that people always say stuff like that, like God's perfect will, what's God's perfect will? He's like, if you're miserable at your job, go take another job and be God's ambassador there. And no one had ever said anything like that to me.
Yeah.
Like, it almost gave you this permission to be like, oh, you mean like you can do that?
Yeah.
I don't mean like I'll leave my marriage because it's hard. I don't mean that.
Yeah.
I don't mean like commitments you have, but this idea that God's trying to use every miserable experience to like make something in you. It's like, maybe these are signs that you should find something. We don't need to look for a life of ease, but you know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, I think that there is there's an agency granted to us by God that as a part of the inherited nature of the Creator, that God decided, I want to make a dog. It's going to look like this, and so like there is this creativity to the choices of life. Am I the dog in this analogy? Jonnie, I think you know who you are. I'm going to make this completely ridiculous, dumb creature. But I think that like, and then he said, hey, now you go name them. Like there's this, hey, pick whatever you pick. It's, you have like a blessing in that. And so there's always balance. We can take that to the extremes. So within the ways of God, and that's kind of how I teach the church sometimes, like, look, I believe the will of God is like this room. Like there are boundaries to the will of God. They're found by the ways of God and also by the sovereign will of God that we don't know what it's going to be. Meaning at the end of your life, when you look back out of all the choices you made, it was still choices God foreknew that you were going to make, and also, directed your path. Like somewhere between all that, there's the mystery of God. You'll go, oh, God knew exactly. God guided me. But in the middle of it, you're making decisions too. Somewhere in that. Sometimes you feel like you know exactly, like you do hear from God. I think it's more likely.
It's like a Melon-Calling, if you will.
It's like a Melon-Calling. It's somewhere.
So here, listen, it's like sometimes you got to like spit out the seeds, like you eat, don't eat the rind.
Whole thing, guys. The calling is not. No, you'll feel very Melan-Calling.
Yeah.
If you.
Jeez.
It was so.
This anecdote's giving me a stomachache just from the. Jeez Louise.
You remember that old Kroger commercial? It was a very good commercial. It was like, I don't know, 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. That a Kroger commercial where little kids eating watermelon.
Okay.
So cute. And a parent or grandparent goes, now look, you better spit out those seeds or it'll start growing a watermelon inside of you. And he's like, whatever. And he keeps eating. And then like right then a pregnant woman walks by.
Oh, it's all big.
Get real big. It's so cute. So great. And Kroger. I don't know.
That's the end of the commercial. Kroger.
Always the commercials that they're just getting your attention and it's total. There's no even product placement in it. It's just name recognition.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know how many listeners actually have Geico insurance.
Right.
They're the greatest commercial, but I've never one time thought, you know what, though?
Yeah.
I need to go get the cheapest insurance possible.
Right.
So that my coverage.
It's the bare minimum coverage.
And that's a 43-year-old man thing. Maybe young people do it, but I'm going, no, I've made enough claims. I need an insurance company I can actually depend on. Like, I don't,
You're going to need that insurance.
And maybe Geico. Yeah. I mean,
I've seen you drive.
You've seen the way I drive. Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh my goodness!
You're talking about dogs.
Geico, not a sponsor, by the way.
You're talking
Sorry.
about
They
dogs.
may be the best. I don't know.
I was thinking about dogs, and I don't have kids, but I think I was thinking about this with Curry the other day. I think one of the things I love about my dogs, and as they get older, it's getting harder because they will always need me. Like my dogs need me more than ever.
Yeah.
Because now I have to give my dogs pills. They have arthritis.
Right.
They're old. They're both 10 years old almost. And so it's like, Toby almost died this year.
Yeah.
He needs me every day. He needs me to whatever. They're not like helpless, but they just.
Right.
And that's kind of annoying in a way, but it's also kind of like, I can imagine as a parent, that's one of the things that's tough is watching your kids get older and not need you anymore. Like there's no chance I'm going to go home and like, ask Curry, what happened to Toby? He got his own place. He said,
right.
He thought it was time. Like it's not going to happen.
Right.
Toby is with me until he dies, and I'm probably going to be the one that decides when he dies.
Yeah.
Like I make all those decisions.
Yeah.
But it's like with a kid, it's like they could just be like, no, I'm going to go to college in California.
Right.
And I may come home for Thanksgiving.
Right.
How heartbreaking.
Yeah. Welcome to it.
Oh.
No, I've actually thought through the differences.
Nothing wrong with
sometimes.
California. I was just saying far away.
Right.
Please don't draw any conclusions from that.
No, nothing wrong with Geico either. No, or Kroger. I absolutely, I think like when Brutus died so tragically, it is that sense of, and that's where even in therapy I've come to, like, there's a different feeling inside of me for something that is completely innocent and even unaware of their innocence.
Yeah.
That will have no agency or control in life besides whether or not to chew this shoe or poop in the floor. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it's all innocent even at their downside. And so that's mine to care for with no exit strategy. With Sadie, we tell her all the time, like, and again, there's no exit strategy for them either, but it will change seasons. And
Right.
I'll tell her, Laura told her this week, like, we're not trying to raise a well-behaved kid. We're not trying to just put rules around you.
Right.
We're trying to equip you to be a well-adjusted adult. You are already in control of your life. We just are like, we're like a governor on the engine.
Right.
We can like limit the speed.
We could say, hey, don't eat this shoe.
And don't poop in the floor. And
I find that if your child eats a shoe, there is no exit strategy. They've
gone to a dark place.
Yes.
Who eats a shoe?
The shoe needs
honestly?
the shoe is looking for an exit strategy generally.
I was thinking about my dog the other day, and now look, Dane used to try to get me when he was on the podcast. I will never do the dog voice that I do for Brutus and Ace. And Ace's
It's between you and your dog.
It's between us, and I don't want to be mocked.
People used to say it's
openly.
between you and God. It's between you and dog.
But I started thinking of the day that Ace, and Ace's voice is a little different. Well, it's the same voice, but he says different things. He really, really does.
In your mind.
No. I think I really am just that intuitive. I think I'm feeling, but because Ace carries himself differently. There's a different level of obstinance.
Yeah.
Some might say rebellion. Yet he also is. He's very cute. Like he will turn his head upside down to look at you. You know, like there's just all these very iconic sort of like Polaroid moment things with the dog, and then he drives you crazy at the same time. But I realized that the dog voice that I do, which is very close to the baby voice I did for Sadie, which is probably my continuation of that because I don't get to do that anymore.
Right, that makes sense.
That's probably
if I was your therapist, we just had a breakthrough.
We just did, guys. But yeah, it's like I get to continue sort of that because I loved, I don't want to be the dad of a baby forever because it's exhausting,
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't trade anything for what I have now, in these teen years. There's difficulties, but it is so much fun and watching her grow and the conversations we have and her wittiness and all those things. So
Yeah.
the stakes are a little higher in some ways,
Yeah.
But it's fun and it's a part of it. But I still get to speak in that other voice now to another little animal, like you said, or another little thing that,
Wow.
no, sorry, she was not an animal ever, but to something else that will never, like I said, never
Right.
grows out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I realized this, Ace doesn't know I'm speaking for him. Ace just thinks
you.
that that's what I sound like. So if we knew what was going on in his head, he must think that I talk like a baby.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
he doesn't know
Dogs
that I know that he
don't.
knows.
I was thinking about several things that dogs don't know that we take for granted. We think they know, but there's no way they could have any concept of knowing them. For instance, my dogs like getting in the car. They love going in the car because we go to get cheeseburgers sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes. Not all the time.
I don't understand why they have so many health problems. That's the thing.
They're doing great. It's a reward. Sometimes we go to the dog park, go get a cheeseburger.
From where?
and-
McDonald's?
But so when I leave without them, double
Okay.
cheese from McDonald's. So when I leave without them,
They think that's where you're going.
they think every time I leave. That's why they're so upset.
Yeah.
No wonder, because every time they've ever gone with me, so they think every time I leave, well, he's going to get cheeseburgers without us.
Yeah.
What a jerk. The other thing I've noticed is your dog rides in the car sometimes, right? Is your dog,
Rarely, actually, this dog rarely rides.
have you ever thought about this? Your dog does not know that you're driving the car.
Right.
He just knows we're in the magic box
He just thinks it's happening.
that goes fast. It's happening to everyone in the car, according
Right.
to the dog. He doesn't know you're steering it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they wouldn't try to climb on you like that.
Uh-huh.
They just think, this is neat.
Yeah.
I like the magic box.
I'm telling you.
It's like a big Wonka-vator to them.
Yeah, what if that's the way... Again, in the scenario, and again, that's sort of the C.S. Lewis world, I do believe there are some parallels to our riding in the magic box of this universe that we lit. I'm not making a turn. I'm not.
John, this is getting good.
But I think it's profound.
We're passing the plate again.
Like philosophically,
Yeah.
it's profound to think
Right. We think we have control.
we think we know how God has control.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Right. We think like, we get how he's steering this box, but we actually have no idea how he's steering the box. Like,
Yeah.
we just think things are happening, and I
Or
just,
just sticking my head out the window.
you can't. I'm just climbing all over them all up. Like,
Spiritually.
I have no idea. Come on, guys. I think, guys, that's another new book called "I'm a Dog in God's Car."
God's taking me to get a cheeseburger.
It's, and we just think it is fascinating. The things. What is that from? Was that from The Office? It was like, we could write a book of everything you don't know. It's like, and they did, and it's called The Dictionary or whatever. It was like,
Yeah, that'd be a good
that's
book.
why they write books.
That's the point of books, is to learn things you don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah. I just wonder. Ace must just think like, wow, John's just really. He's just low intellectual. Like,
Yeah, he thinks that's your dumb voice.
Yeah, he doesn't know.
Or
that
maybe he
I'm-
thinks you're making fun of him.
Wow,
Because
He
you have
seems pretty
your
excited.
regular everyday voice, and when you talk to him, you have this voice. He's like, all right, dude.
But see, he hears their everyday voice, and he just is okay with it. And when I go to that voice, he immediately comes
Oh,
to me.
right,
He
okay.
recognizes the voice of the shepherd. But in this case, the voice of the shepherd is the voice of a baby. Jonnie, I don't know what to do with that.
I'm telling you what. That's beautiful.
Don't you wish the Bible would have called us dogs instead of sheep? Because dogs are
Maybe.
loyal, happy to see you.
Doesn't Caleb mean dog? Isn't that one of the meanings of Caleb in the Bible?
Wow, I don't know.
Isn't it?
I'm
I
not
think
up on my
I think it has.
Hebraic.
Sorry to any Calebs out there.
It's okay. I'm sure.
But I
it
want to
means
say
other
that it
things.
does mean dog in one.
Interesting. There's no way to know.
No, there's no way to know.
No.
Anyway, yeah, why not? Why sheep? Why not? But
That's because I think we most resemble sheep. Like, I started thinking that, like, it doesn't matter how many times you lead me, there's just a good chance I'll just wander off that cliff.
yeah.
You know, well, we did this 90 years in a row. Year 91, I just wandered off
And we're
the
kind of
cliff.
tribal.
Yeah.
Whereas dogs can be in a pack, but they can also be lone.
The lone
The
poodle.
lone wolves.
Yeah.
Wolves.
Wolves. Do you ever...
Why isn't roofs? Why isn't roof not a roofs when it's plural?
I don't know.
It's roofs.
Is it?
Roofs is really weird to say. It should be
Roofs.
roofs,
Yeah.
like leaves.
I hear people say lifes a lot. like, all of our lives, and
Oh,
that's
no.
it. And it's like, no, I understand how you can get there, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know what I heard? Oh, what was it? What was it, Johnny? Oh man, I said it this morning because it was. I'm not gonna remember what it was.
Rubes
but it was some conjugation, like it was the name of the show was something plural.
Yeah.
I got it. I think it was the Oscars.
Yeah.
No, the CMAs they were about to be on with
Right.
Peyton Manning and the country artist Luke Bryan are hosting.
Brad Paisley?
No, Luke Bryan.
Oh, Luke Bryan.
And Peyton Manning are
I figured it'd be
co-hosting.
Paisley because they do all those commercials.
And I heard a
together.
commercial that said, the CMAs is on TNT or whatever tonight.
CMAs are on?
Well, that's the thing. The name of the show is the CMAs. Like it's a singular thing.
Yeah.
But it immediately struck me from a conjugation standpoint because it feels like the CMAs are, well, then if that's the case, you're acting like the CMAs are a group of awards and not a singular show called the CMAs.
Yeah.
You're almost like you would be saying the awards are on NBC or CMT. I'm sure it's CMT, by the way. Sorry, let's get this right. CMAs are on CMT.
CMAs is on,
CMT is what they said.
and I seen it.
I seen your
I
video.
done seen it.
I don't know, Johnny. What do you do with that? And does a normal listener
No.
hear that and think anything
Are
other
they
than
bothered by it?
right? Or do they want to like know the mystery of it? We don't argue a lot in my house, but I'm gonna say this, and she's an avid listener, a faithful listener, so my wife will know this, and I've come to some conclusions about it, and Enneagrams really help with this. But the thing that creates when there is tension, the most tension, is my need to understand. I'm a 6. I'm in what's called the thinking triad. So my first thing, but like with Sadie and with Laura, it apparently is irritating how much I need to understand what's happening. So like, instead of me just like, no, I'm just going to drive you randomly wherever you tell me to go. Like I want to know
Right.
where we're going and for what purpose.
What's
And
the plan?
Even if I'm just going to sit in the car, I still want to know what it is.
Yeah.
But it's that need to know whether or not CMAs is on CMT. That's the thing. Like, I don't know. It's my 5 part, which is the investigator. Like, I want to know how things work. I don't want to like take apart, my computer and see how the hard drive works. I'm not that deep into it, but I just want to know how the systems work. What is the purpose of this? And apparently that's irritating at times because I do it in inopportune moments.
Yeah.
Like we're in a hurry.
Let's just go.
I need you to do this thing for me, like right now, and then I'll tell you later. But it's like that's hard for me if I don't know, like if I can't see the bigger picture, the plan. John, maybe I'm just a big picture thinker, bro. Like I want to know that. No, that's not it.
I think it's
just
an annoying parent and spouse.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
No, it is what it is. They're stuck with
There's
me now.
no changing it now, my friends.
Yeah, this is me.
I wonder what they're going to think about your pink light behind you
Who?
when your wife sees it. Is she going to have some design ideas?
No, she would. She would think, "Ooh, I wish you'd wear more colors, more shirts of that color."
Well, no, then you need something that's going to.
But not on the podcast, just in life.
Oh, okay.
Like, stop buying only black and gray shirts.
Black and gray is the best.
I'm like, yeah, but they're the best, and yeah,
there's no risk in it.
yeah,
No one's ever been mocked for wearing a black shirt.
no, exactly.
Never once.
This is me avoiding.
Look at this
pain.
guy in his black button up.
Well, you look crazy. No, they're like, I didn't even notice.
There's a
that guy.
distinguished gentleman. Yeah, you just blend into the
we don't get
background.
any
You
note.
literally blend in.
Yeah, they don't call us distinguished gentlemen. They just
They're
didn't
called-
notice we were there.
They're called ninjas
Yeah, maybe you heard
for
of
a
them.
reason.
And I grew up wanting to be a ninja so bad. Didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
I played ninja.
I used to just karate kick walls.
To this day, I know how to take a black T-shirt and make it look like a ninja mask around my head.
What?
And I actually had,
Why have we never played ninja?
I don't know, but in hide and seek, all the older kids would come play, and they would love to pick on me until I came into ninja mode.
Not anymore.
And bro, they could never find me. We'd be out in the yard. They looked everywhere, and I would
Right.
be like, I remember my favorite spot was I would lay in a shadow. And they walk right past me.
Did you find out later that they actually weren't playing and they just were inside watching the game? They were like, "This idiot's out here."
No, because I'd see them and I'd hope they wouldn't step on me.
Oh, okay.
But my highest marks were in stealth.
You laid in a shadow?
Yeah, like out in the middle of the field, but they look because we would climb on top of the vehicles, on top of the roofs. Like we would do dangerous things in hide and seek.
Wait a minute. As a ninja,
I would just lay out in the open.
You hid on top of a vehicle.
No. Like I would do that in normal hide and seek.
Okay.
But when I became a ninja,
But I'm saying, like,
need
wouldn't you be easier seen on top of a vehicle? What vehicle are you climbing on top of?
like the huge box truck where all the lawnmowers were inside. So really, really high vehicle.
Okay.
And then you jump from that vehicle.
I forgot. I'm just trying to remember because everybody didn't grow up with box trucks in their
Well,
backyard.
Johnny, I grew up doing commercial lawn care. I know what you want.
You cannot hide money.
But once I became so stealthy, I would bypass the traditional hiding places.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, there's no other place, because we've been playing for years, there's no other place you could be. And I'm right in front of you, Johnny. And isn't that just like our lives? I mean, that sometimes the truth
It's just in the shadows.
is just in the shadows. It's right there. Just step on it, Johnny. Wait,
don't step
don't
on
step
that.
on. Don't step in it. Wait.
Sometimes I feel like I've stepped in some truth.
Sometimes I've watched you step in some truth,
Yeah,
Johnny.
I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. You know what, listener? Maybe you stepped in some truth today. And you were like, this was a good experience. I want to shine light into the shadows.
Can somebody help me get some of this truth off my shoe?
And if you wanted help to do such a thing, where could you even go?
Talkaboutthatpodcast.com. All the archived
Archived episodes.
all of our roofs are there. All of our archived episodes there for your listening pleasure. You can even go to our Patreon, our link trees, kick in some shekels if you feel so inclined. We'd love it. If not, look, we get it. But listen, these purple lights aren't going to pay for themselves. Thank you, Amazon.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you want to do that, that'd be great. And leave a review, leave a rating. That helps other people find the show. We're always trying to grow the listenership.
Yeah.
We got some cool things planned for our patrons coming up. Also, we got some announcements coming up soon because this month is a special new partnership coming down the pike here.
In fact, we're going to make that announcement next week. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, next Monday.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, we're going to make a pretty
By the
big
way, I
announcement.
did want to make one disclaimer that we came out pretty hot last week in favor of the Vols beating Georgia.
Whoa. We did not.
I was pretty confident that this was, it felt like 98 to me.
I went back and listened, and you were pretty confident.
The level of disrespect of us being a number one ranked team, but still an underdog in Vegas odds, I was like, this feels like 98 to me.
I told you
And then
to be cautious.
we did not play well, and we were outmanned and outgunned, and we lost the game. But then the episode airs like 4 days after we make it. So in the episode, it just looks like, we got this. Everybody's listening to that with all kinds of schadenfreude. And it's fine if you are. If you're one of those people who's like, hey, these idiots, Georgia blew their doors off. We did. We lost. But we're still in the mix. Don't worry about it. Tennessee, we're coming back.
So
to lose again to Georgia, probably.
I will say this to the Georgia fans. You are really loud in your own stadium, just like we are in ours. You did to us what we did to Alabama, and we had 8 false starts and they said after the game they could not hear the snap count.
Which is the point of home field advantage. It's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and your defense seemingly figured out our mesh wide receiver offense, and you played man-to-man instead of zone so that we couldn't confuse your guys. Like you did it. Like, yes, Kirby Smart figured out the game plan, the first coach of the year to do so against what we do.
It's fine.
It's fine.
We didn't have a whole thing. I don't want to get into a whole Vols segment. I just want to say
I
want to own that I came out saying the Vols would win, and we did not win, and I want to make sure that everyone understands. I'm owning that. I eat my humble pie, whatever the crow, whatever you want me to eat.
Yeah, why do you have to eat? Like, humble pie sounds
Is
delicious.
Humble pie, maybe humble pie has crow in it.
But eating crow, I don't know. I would just like to say that, and we're not having a Vol segment.
It's too late now.
But if we were, we're number 5 now. It's it's questionable. TCU, yes, they haven't played a lot of people.
We're going to wind up. If we win out,
I
need to focus on these next 3 games.
I feel good about. We need to win out big.
Yeah.
Because style points do matter. They said that last night on the college playoff show.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've ever watched it. And we're in a decent spot here because Michigan and Ohio State will play each other. One of them, if one of them gets blown out, then one of them should drop out. If it's a close, like, overtime game, I don't know if they'll put 2 Big Ten teams in. I'm not sure. But, we don't necessarily control our own destiny, but we do. I think we're sitting pretty. It would not hurt my feelings to meet Georgia again on a neutral field.
No, it'd be a good, because we could have that redemption. It'd be great.
Yeah.
You get that chance to avenge that loss.
And for
I'm
us
not
to-
sure if we can do it.
and for us, I don't know if we could either. They're obviously the best
They're
team
very-
right now.
they're very
They
good.
deserve the number 1 ranking.
Nobody's
And
saying it was
must
a-
be nice to have 5 stars, 4 deep after every position. And you know what? That's on them. They built that great program. I'm glad they
did, and we're on our way back. We're building. We're building.
Tennessee's
something.
been an upstanding program the whole time. We've never paid for players.
We've never done anything
We
wrong.
did
There
not
was
give
never
McDonald's bags of cash for players in the last 3 years. But that was not this coaching staff or these players.
No.
So,
I mean, I got my bag. I don't know. Did you get a
I don't.
bag of cash?
Mine was a Wendy's bag.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. I was dipping my French fries in the
Yeah.
Frosty. But no, I mean, it's good. Johnny, I accept your confession.
Yeah, I just
And,
think it's good to own that. Look, we get it wrong sometimes.
again,
And
I
this
don't like the
is
use
what
of.
being this is what being a fan is. You get excited about your team, and then sometimes a team's got to lose. You can't win every game.
I don't like the use of "we" again in this because I believe I cautioned us. I believe I was cautioning us.
You're
like,
a
hey,
nervous Nelly,
Well, this is why.
and
Because
I'm more of
often-
a confident Carl.
Often I'm right
Yeah.
about forecasting bad things coming down the road. I did think we would fare better than we did.
Mm-hmm.
The blinding rainstorm at the end in the third quarter didn't help. But anyway, I will say this, though, to the Vols' advantage, we called a blowout. The final score, we lost by 14.
Yeah,
And we held Georgia to 3 points in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're on the upswing. Is what I guess
I'm
we're
saying, guys, we...
Look out.
I don't think... Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
We'll
we
see
just
what
needed
happens.
and by the way, the play of the game was a punt.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a 75-yard punt that went on the 1 yard line, and that was the beginning. We could have, if we would have got the ball, the guy was supposed to catch it on the 30.
Mm-hmm.
That's how good of a punt it was. It went over his head and then just started vertically bouncing down the sideline until it went out the 1. I was like, oh my gosh. Backed us up in our own end zone, almost had a safety, kicked out, they came back, scored. It was the
That
beginning.
wouldn't happen if that ball wasn't so pointy.
I know, man.
Just play with a round ball.
Good grief. Like, go long, and you throw it 2 yards.
Just
It'd
let
be hard
me-
to throw up. You ever thrown a kickball
Yeah.
or a dodgeball?
I've thrown a dodgeball.
Oh, I know, yeah.
I don't know.
Listener, we appreciate the time that you've given us. It's so much fun. And send us questions, comments, other things you'd like to hear us talk about here on
Talk about that.